Hello everyone and welcome to another Tombs of Amascut patch review. Now again, people like these, they're nice and quick to make and they're really informative, so let's crack on with it. In this update we also have the Wildy weapon beta test, which looks really fun. I might actually go and have a go at that, but that's not why we're here. It also has the poison dynamite, which is going to be really good for 10 HP accounts. And it's got the quest speedrunning beta, which again, the worlds are open for testing that, and it might be really fun. I might go and have a go at that myself. But again, we're here for the Tombs of Amascut changes. Now, there's quite a lot to go over here. It's a small update, but there is quite a few things that are worth going over and that I've already tested in game that don't seem quite right. First of all, they've implemented presets for the Tombs of Amascut invocation system. As you can see on the picture over here on the right hand side, you can store invocations. It tells you what level it is, entry, normal or expert, and what invocation level you've got on for it. And then if you want to load those invocations or save them, you simply click a slot and then click load or save. It's a really helpful system. Also, they've added a mini tutorial for new players entering the raid for the first time as they now get introduced to the invocation system. New players will receive two options, just much like we did. If the player states their experience, they'll have a normal mode raid preset. Otherwise, the player will have the first preset be an empty one that starts with 0 invocations active. This is a really good way to do it, to encourage new learners to actually send low level raids and people that have a lot of ToB or Cox experience to go straight into 150s. Now we get onto the part that is basically why I've made this video, because like I said, there is quite a few things here, but this is the main event. We actually have a new invocation, which is insane. As you can see, we've also made some changes to a few of the invocations. Now this first one is a new invocation completely. Before, we had quiet prayers and silent prayers. Quiet prayers made 10% of your prayer useless, and silent prayers made 25% of it useless. These were stackable, so you could make your prayer only 65% as effective as what it could be basically. So no one was really putting it on, they'd just put quiet prayers on and leave silent prayers off, because stacking them both together hurt a lot. Now, Jagex caught onto this, that people aren't really using it, so they've actually just changed the invocation entirely, because there were basically just two entirely separate invocations that did the same thing, which is a little bit boring. However, it has been replaced by deadly prayers. Now, deadly prayers is a new invocation that drains your prayer by 20% of damage taken, worth 20 raid level. But the most important thing here is that it truncates it, it rounds it down, right? So if you get hit a 4, 20% of 4 is 0.8, so you're going to get drained 0 prayer. If you get hit a 10, then 20% of 10 is 2, so you'll drain 2 prayer. But also if you get hit a 14, it's 2.8, so you'll also only get drained 2 prayer. Essentially, every multiple of 5 drops you another prayer. But if you're somewhere within that, you'll get dropped down to whatever the last multiple of 5 got you. So like I said, 15 would drop you by 3, 19 would drop you by 3, etc. As you can see on screen now, I tested this, and that is exactly how it functions. It functions exactly as they've described it in the post. You can see me getting hit some 17s and getting drained 3s, and then a little lower hits that are draining 1s and 2s. So, props to them for this, it's going to be a really good invocation. There is one slight concern I've got, however, which is when you actually go to the information tab for the raid, it does still say that your prayer reduction has gone down by 25%, which is kind of a concern, because if you put this and quiet prayers on, it still makes the tab say 65%. However, I put this invocation on, went into Zabak, where you can negate all the damage by praying correctly if you've not got the silent prayers or quiet prayers on. And it didn't hit through it, so I'm pretty sure this is just a graphical bug on the menu. Feel free to report it as a bug in game just so we can get it sorted though, because it is confusing. Next, a few nice and simple ones. Upset Stomach has gone from a 10 to 15 raid level. Now this is really interesting because last patch when they did the invocation rework, they actually had Upset Stomach go from 5 to 10. So this is the only invocation that's gone from 5 to 15 raid level. That's crazy, but it is worth putting it on now if you're confident with jugs. Next, Stay Vigilant for Arca has gone from 10 to 15 raid level. This is probably for 2 reasons. One, some people realise it's quite an annoying thing to deal with and don't want to put it on. But also number 2 is they recently made the Arca Shadow on the Warden fight actually change attack styles more often with this invocation on. So this is probably to represent that change. And the last raid level increase is Feeling Special, which is the Archer Invocation that doubles the tick speed of the memory game and the other two specials. Well, not the tick speed of the other two specials, but like the dark one spawns an extra orb, etc. But it's gone from a 15 to a 20 raid level. This one kind of interested me because in a solo, it's not actually that bad to deal with. So this is kind of just a free 5 raid level if you like soloing. In teams, however, it is a little more complicated. But again, in solos, this is 5 free raid levels, so happy days. And the last invocation that's been changed, and this one is actually really interesting. No help needed. Now there's 3 helpful spirit invocations. One of them lowers the amount to 66%, one of them lowers the amount of supplies you get to 33%, and one of them lowers the amount of supplies you get to 0%. This is that invocation, so they've actually changed it to 10%. Meaning that if you were to get like 8 brews, you'd get 0.8, but now the supplies offered cannot be reduced below 1. Now this really interested me because in the life bucket you normally get like a scarab, a brew, a restore, and an ambrosia. In the power you'll get like a salt and an adrenaline, and that means that even with this invocation on you should still get one of all of those. So I did some testing. As you can see, this is the first raid that I did with the helpful spirit, which is very, very, very strange. Because as you can see, in the life bucket, I actually only got 2 things. So in my opinion, this is not working as intended. Because if you think about it, the restore and the silk dressing, there's no way that life in a normal raid would have not offered me a brew and only offered me restores and a life blessing. And even for power, it's meant to offer an adrenaline most of the time, right? And chaos is meant to offer more than that. So even if they've been rounded to 1 and nothing can be reduced below 1, this is still very strange in my opinion. It should at least have a brew or something here or a scarab. Having 2 things in life looks very incorrect, so in my opinion this is more than likely bugged. Or worded wrongly on the blog. If we take a look at number 2, I did a second helpful spirit test. On this one in the life, we actually got ambrosia and in chaos as well. Now the power still offered no adrenaline, which is weird, but the life and chaos only offered 1 brew and 1 ambrosia. Again, this is very strange because normally you'd at least see 3 or 4 different items in those buckets. Having just 2 in life again is really concerning. So let's see how that one plays out. There is also the option that the blog post I am just interpreting wrong, and it doesn't mean the supplies can't be reduced below 1 as in you're going to get 1 of every item you would have before. What it could be doing is taking the total loot, so say you get 18 things, running the 90% calculation against that, and then whatever is left over gets put into the bucket. But again, in my opinion, it is worded as if you should get 1 of every item you would have got. Bear that in mind. Now let's get on to the other changes. Now normally the other changes section isn't that great, but this time there's some big hitters in here. Not really many, but there are some really useful things, such as you will no longer get duplicate drops of Keris Party Sang jewels until you have received all 3 at least once. This is huge. I personally know some people who have got 3 yellows, 3 reds, and just not getting any of the other jewels at all. So honestly, this is probably the best change in this entire blog for people that want the Kerises. Now, a bug fix. The Eladinis Ward Ornament Kit actually was incorrectly calculating its magic strength boost, which is crazy. So if people got the ornament kit for the ward and upgraded it, it was only providing a 3% boost rather than a 5%. So it was actually a nerf to upgrade it, which is crazy. But that has now been rectified. Next one is for all you nerds out there. The Max Cape version of the Avers Assembler Ornament Kit can now be converted into a Truva version and can be stored within your player-owned house. The Truva version is obviously just with a Truva parchment, so it's a good update. The kit itself can also be used directly on the Max Cape itself now instead of getting another Vorkath head, so win-win for everybody. They've modified the visuals of the Max Cape version of the Avers Assembler Ornament Kit. I haven't got one, so I can't show that off unfortunately. And now, some more cool updates. The Path of Heck challenge room now has a pickaxe statue near the exit. Countless times I've always run straight to there and then either forgot my pickaxe or had to go back and put it in one of the other statues, so this is a helpful thing overall. And it should speed up the time between rooms by a few seconds. Now, They've also fixed an issue that caused Arca's Phantom on the Warden fight to change styles way too often. So if you weren't aware, something that was missed out of the last patch notes that I left in the comments of my last video was that if you had Stay Vigilant on, Arca wouldn't do 3 range, 3 magic, 3 range, 3 magic anymore. It'd be more random. However, it seems they overclocked it a little bit and it was swapping too often. So now they've changed it to be somewhere in the middle, presumably. Again, I've not tested this yet, but it seems that it's going to change styles less while also not being in a strict 3 range, 3 magic pattern. If you've got the Stay Vigilant invocation on, that is. The Arcane Scarab now plays the correct spawn animation during the Caffrey encounter. I never noticed anything wrong with its spawn animation, to be honest, but I guess it's going to be changed now. This is a huge one. How many times have you killed the obelisk at the Wardens? You've got an orb flying towards you and you're trying to open up the thing to get all of your brews out? Yeah, and it doesn't let you, does it? Well, now it does, because they fixed the issue and interfaces can now be opened if a bomb is flying towards you at the end of the obelisk phase. Now, a few bug fixes that are technically nerfs. They fixed the issue in phase 3 where the Warden would stop attacking for a brief moment after one of the players died. Now, obviously this helped the team out, but now that's been fixed. Similarly, in the Warden's P3 fight on the Enraged phase where the lightning comes down and hits the tiles, some people noticed that at some point on the front row the lightning just stopped entirely. That was a bug. So they've also fixed that and it will not stop unexpectedly anymore. So you are going to have to dodge everything if you're on that last row and there is no hope for it to stop. Good luck. They've added Tombs of Amascut to clan events, which is just handy. When Arca changes attack styles, it'll now stop the player from attacking like the Nilicus in Theatre of Blood. This is helpful slightly. I mean, if you're swapping on time anyway, it's not really that helpful. But if you're slightly late on a swap, if you've accidentally attacked it with the previous style, you've obviously got to wait that many attacks before your correct style can attack. So this change overall is a slight buff and helpful for people. And finally, they've fixed an issue where crocodiles were not cleaned up in the Zabak boss fight, and where players could sometimes walk inside of rubble in Barber's boss fight. Barber is so buggy. In fact, if you're not aware, I actually have a interesting rap track Barber diss project coming out on Friday. So if anyone's interested in some Barber bars from a non-rapper, feel free to come back and check that out on Friday. If you want a little 30-second leak of that, it's in the future of my channel video, but it's cringe, so be careful. But I'll also leak another little bit now. Only audio though.
Being up a band, but not as one of the main four, do you understand? You'd be the instrument that the others be hitting, getting bullied by your two mates while you try to fit in. On your boulder face, you've got them rolling and rolling, imagining that I'm the pins, yeah, you're bowling and bowling. But while all this is going on, you're at the back of the room. Yeah, you the most afraid in this whole damn tone. All you can do is be summoning little clone, rolling some boulders and maybe throwing a stone.
See, told you it was cringe. I'm not a rapper, never wrote a rap, never rapped. And I'm even making a little freaking music video for it. It's going to be hilarious. I've had fun doing it. I don't care if it's cringe, it's being uploaded anyway. Let me know what you think. Anyways, that is the entire update. Now I hope you enjoyed. It's worth noting that with Deadly Prayers now existing, if you get to the end of a raid and look at the board, and you see how much damage you took over the entire raid because that's a statistic, you can then calculate roughly how much extra prayer you're going to need. So, for example, if you take 1000 damage, you're going to be looking at about roughly 200 extra prayer that's been drained. So, bear that in mind and you can see if it's worth it for you to have the invocation on. Another thing that's worth noting is that with Deadly Prayers, all damage counts. It's not just boss or monster damage. That means if you are poisoned or venomed, that also ticks off, and standing in like Zabak's pools, for example. Bear that in mind. Thanks a lot for watching. Love you and leave you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!